Hey everyone, in the last few days, stock market is clearly showing signs of nervousness before the big day on 4th June when the election results would be announced. Although the exit poll results would be declared on the evening of 1st June, that would also give a good idea on what to expect from election results. So I thought of quickly sharing my viewpoint on how to tackle this volatility for next week. I've also tried to cover the impact of election outcome on specific sectors. So first of all, if you are a long-term investor, you don't need to take extreme action. This is not the first time when we are having election. For the last 20-30 years, we have seen many elections with even change of power. On top of that, we have seen crazy events like COVID, demonetization, wars, corruption cases and whatnot. But every time market has made a new high. In fact, the day before yesterday, there was a big announcement. S&P has upgraded India's rating outlook from stable to positive after 14 years. Now, S&P is one of the most reputed rating agencies in the world, and this upgrade on India's outlook clearly signifies the optimism towards the Indian economy. So the point is that India's long-term growth story is 100% intact. Those who will keep their faith in Indian economy and not get too distracted with the election outcome or any short-term event for that matter would be rewarded in the long term. Now coming to the election results, the current state of stock market where your large cap, mid and small cap, all indices are trading near the all-time high suggests that market is expecting a strong victory for BJP. Now there can be three outcomes. First is BJP get a strong majority with more than 300 seats. In that case, stock market will cherish the result outcome and few specific sectors would outperform, including your PSU sector, railway, solar stock, defense, infrastructure, capital goods, and even your power sector. Although these sectors have already rallied a lot in last 1 to 2 years, but if current government comes into power, these sectors can continue to outperform further. By the way, I've already done a detailed video on stocks that can rally if BJP comes into power with strong majority. You can check it out. Also, the fact that over the last couple of years, FIs have sold nearly 5 lakh crore worth of investment from Indian market. So if current government comes into power, FIs should start reinvesting in Indian market. That would result in broad-based rally. Of course, the sunrise sector would, where government has more focus, would see sharper rally, but overall every sector would do well. Second case is BJP does not get the majority of 272 seats, but its NDA alliance manages to cross the majority. In that case, we can even have a new prime minister, but I think market won't like it and we can see a good correction. And third case is NDA alliance does not get the majority. Although I believe the probability of this outcome is quite low, if this happens, market can tank really badly in the short term. And all the hot themes that are driven by government spending or government policies like your infra, power, railway, PSU, solar, defense can tank badly. Of course, in that case, your small cap will fall more brutally as compared to mid cap and then your large cap. In any case, one theme that looks very well placed no matter who comes into power is consumption. Now, consumption demand in India is broadly of two types, rural demand and urban demand. While urban demand is looking quite robust due to the premiumization trend driven by higher income and spending level, especially in metro cities. But the rural demand has been quite flattish for a long time now. Although this rural demand is now also showing some signs of recovery and many stocks today in consumption theme are looking decent after a long period of correction and consolidation. So consumption is one theme that would do well irrespective of government in power and include sectors like your FMCG, auto, consumer durable and so on. Especially if we get a new government, this consumption theme could be an outperformer. Another sector that is one of the best defensive play in current situation is pharma. I think pharma companies have posted good set of numbers and looking positive for next year. The only sector where I don't see a sharp movement, at least in the near term, is IT sector. It is mainly dependent upon your US market and FY25 is not looking great for IT sector, at least the initial 6 months of FY25. While this could actually create a good opportunity if you are looking for contra bets, because eventually IT sector would do well and investment done during these difficult times would bear fruit in the future. I have recently discussed why IT sector is my contra bet for FY25. The idea is to invest systematically in IT sector. One last sector I want to discuss is banking and finance. Since this sector is tightly linked with economic growth, it should continue to do well if current government comes into power. Now within this segment, PSU banks have rallied a lot in last couple of years and I have recently discussed the PSU bank valuation and compared it with private banks. So if BJP gets a strong majority, PSU banks would continue to outperform. But if the results are not as per market expectation, PSU banks can see good correction. As far as private banks and NBFCs are concerned, if BJP wins the election, this sector would also outperform. But in case of adverse result, there can be short-term hiccup. Having said this, private banks and NBFC space is looking quite attractive in terms of valuation for the long-term prospects. So this is the overall sectoral view in 3 scenarios. Now personally, how I am tackling this volatility? So I have cashed out some amount of my investment and now sitting on around 15 to 16% kind of cash. Please note that 85% of my money is still invested in the market as a long-term investor. However, this 15-16% cash is to utilize any opportunity that emerges out of the election outcome. If BJP gets a strong majority, I would allocate this money towards the sectors that would strongly benefit from government capex plan and policies that include your railway, power, defense, PSU, solar, infra and capital goods sector. In case there's an adverse outcome from the election and the market corrects, I would utilize the correction to invest my money at lower levels. So the idea is to not panic from the election outcome and be ready with a list of stocks to consider buying in either case. I also discuss my investment detail in my weekly video series where I share one exclusive video every week. In case you are interested, you can explore it on my website or via the join button on this YouTube channel. So this is the update from my side. The only message that I want to pass on is, if you are a long-term investor, there is no need to take extreme measure. The current rally in the stock market has already discounted majority of positive news. But in case there's any negative result, be ready to take advantage. So it's good to keep some 10-20% kind of cash to tackle this volatility and then deploy this money based on the election outcome. Now tell me in the comment, how are you planning to tackle this current volatility? If you find this video useful, do share it within your circle. I'll see you next video. Till then, take care.